The greatest extension of that is they love to torture small children to death because, it's that great power, and they love hurting something innocent. Would you say in these interlocking, when we come back, I want to go through, from your study, the different gangs we have, that at the next to the highest level of the pyramid is the scientific gang, where whoever's the most cold-blooded is who is admired, and then above that is the elite families.
There's no doubt. In fact, Huxley himself went through the whole strata of the dominant minority and the scientific elite who were specially bred, including his own group, to help this dominant minority.
Here, let's talk to Mark in Oregon. Mark, you're on the air worldwide. Go ahead.
Thank you, Alex, and hello to you, and hello to Alan. Alex, I want to just mention quickly, as a quick aside here to my main body of my call, I really, if you can, I would urge you to have another money bomb as soon as possible. I figure you probably got a very limited amount of artifacts there, which would probably all auction very well. But if that be the case, perhaps that will take the place of a money bomb for a time. But whatever it takes, Alex, in order for you to be able to do your job unhindered by lack of funds at this point, because they're really up in the ante faster than, well, like you say, sometimes it takes your breath away these days. They're moving so fast. And they are pulling everything off the shelf at one time, using it all at one time in order to overwhelm us at this point. This is a strategy. I firmly believe that. But, Alan, you know, the ultra-elite, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the English royalty, and the royalty of the Netherlands, the Vatican Black Jesuit sect, they've been promised by their God, whom they call Lucifer, that they're going to inherit the earth. And he has the name of Satan now, and he is the devil. But they do his bidding in order to get this deal of inheriting the whole earth eternally. And of course, the destruction and or aberration of all of God's creation on this planet is the devil's bidding. So we see that. But they're so under the illusion of Satan, the master of illusion, that they don't realize that, as the Bible prophesizes, they will fall completely in their efforts and completely fail to accomplish their efforts, and actually are going to burn eternally in hell.
Do you have a
They're
question or comment?
not going to destroy it all.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the question part of it, Alex, is, Alan, you know, to your knowledge, who is the elite Maximus these humans are above the usual, most well-known villains that I've mentioned?
Well, you might be closer to a truth than you realize. There's definitely a power in this world that's making itself manifest through these people. And one of the symptoms of it is the fact that you can't get so many thousands of workers working towards this new world order, this planned horror society, where they're all like clones of each other on every single topic. That in itself is not normal. It's unnatural. So there's definitely something working through them. It's up to the individuals who do the study to figure out what it is.
Well, people call it spirituality, but they've proven the sixth sense. They've proven that we're only seeing a thin band of the full spectrum, and the sixth sense, or Aborigines always know when their mother dies. They can be 3,000 miles away in a mine, and they come out, and every time, like say an Australian say, my mother just died, fly me out there, and they're always right. I mean, and I've experienced things like that. And it's true, the elite are tied together by almost like a spiritual broadcasting system. It's like they're downloading the same evil directory. What is that, Alan, in your opinion?
Well, you went into ancient writings, even before what we know as the Bible was written. They did talk about a war in the heavens and in the earth. This is pre-Hebrew. And it wasn't over. It would last for thousands and thousands, maybe millions of years before the next clash would come along. And it was, again, written about in the Zoroastrian mysteries later on, to do with good and evil itself, always in battle with each other. And it's up to the individual, as I say, how they interpret this. But all you can really do, ultimately, is to interpret it according to your own personal life's experience.
Yeah, I can tell you how the elite interpret it. They're kind of along the fifth element line.
Mm-hmm.
And they
but
worship...
They do understand both sides and how to manipulate both sides of it, too.
Well, that's the Illuminati mystery religion, is the balance that they believe in. Thank you, sir. I appreciate your call.
It's about human beings selling themselves out. The echelon attitude here, the needs of the few outweigh the needs of humanity. And sorry, that just isn't right. You know, but it's going to have to be humanity that's going to rise up and take the stand. You're just going to have to turn off your televisions. They're going to have to get in their car. They're going to have to fire everybody in Washington, D.C. that knows and does nothing. And they're going to have to do something. You know, this apathy's got to end. Otherwise, the way we live is going to end. Period. I mean, that's the bottom line. You know, and I'm not coming from a fear space. I'm really quite angry about the apathy and the fact that, you know, when people give lectures and try to tell this, people want to stand up and fight with them. Look at what's happening around us. The indications are everywhere. Everywhere. The truth is now an obscure thing. You know, the lie is the norm. There's something wrong here. What's wrong with this picture? Sorry, I'm getting crazy.
No, you're not. You're expressing frustration, I think.
Okay. They don't need anything. They have all this technology that they want. We can't really offer them except maybe work, do some work for them. But they don't need all of us to work for them. They don't respect human life in any way whatsoever. That's really our essence, our nature, I'm sorry. That's really our nature, our essence. And, you know, the cities and the culture that we're living in now has totally cut us off from the land, from what our real essence is, which is nature. And, you know, we're starting to feed off each other now. It's like so bizarre. It reminds me of that sentence that Abraham Lincoln, that quote that Abraham Lincoln once said. You know, if you are above the earth looking down, you could be an atheist. But when I'm on the earth looking up and seeing the heavens, I know there's a God. It's like the duality. And I think enough of us, more of us, really need to start taking the perspective that what we're doing here isn't right. You know, we need to get in touch with what's out there, with just the whole idea that, God, how did we get here? What makes me be here? You know? As opposed to going home after work, turning on TV, watching 3 hours of television, going to bed, getting up the next morning, going entrenched in our belief systems, that the reality of our belief systems is being chipped away daily, you know, to what we think is real. And an overlapping degree of thoughts and energy are being introduced that hopefully will open our perspective, enough people's perspective, to the point where we can experience a real leap in consciousness here. And we have to do this quickly. We have to do this by 2001 in order to really...
particular month?
Between July and August.
And what's happening?
That's the probability.
What's happening July, August 2001?
Well, basically nothing, but, you know, we're creating our future. Much of our future, that our belief systems, is being focused on the book of Revelations, on other prophetic disasters that are to occur.
So you're talking about self-fulfilling prophecy?
Right. We're literally going to create it. We're literally going to create our own demise. Because we're buying into belief systems that say we ourselves are not mature enough or grown up enough to take care of our own selves. So we need somebody to come in here and take care of us. And that's an absolute recipe for disaster. Because, you know, who would want to come down here and save us from ourselves? Because then they're going to have to tell us what it is that we're going to have to do. We're not taking responsibility for ourselves. 210, 12 years, whatever it is now, we're right back at the same place where we're being called to do exactly the same thing.
But the paradox here, Alex, would be then that if we begin to war against ourselves, that's going to exactly fuel the whole fire that's going on.
Maybe for a brief time it would. Until one side surrendered or saw the light. Do you know much about the New World Order? Do you know that they're building concentration camps to put millions of people in? Do you know that the United Nations has got 300,000 troops in the United States right now that they're going to use to confiscate weapons? And they're sending our active military troops out of the United States so they won't be here when this happens? Are you aware that that's going on? Do you know that just off the coast of just south of the border in Veracruz, there are 300 tons of Soviet military equipment ready to invade? I mean, this is that there are states actually wanting to succeed from the Union. Yes, yes. There are 9 different regions. The United States has already been designated to be split up. They're getting ready to totally dismantle the United States of America. And you know, the only real part of the United States of America, and I get so angry with this, is Washington, D.C. 68 square miles. That's really all that is the United States. We are in the Republic of Arizona. People in California are in the Republic of California. It is those separate republics that make up a United States. Washington, D.C. has totally manipulated everything. We're no longer the United States, what the forefathers founded. It isn't that at all. And you know, in 1992, the Congress approved the UN Charter. Well, what people aren't aware of, because it wasn't printed in the press, in the newspapers, in our controlled media, is that because it's a treaty, it supersedes the Constitution of the United States. The UN Charter is now the law of the land, not the Constitution anymore. And in the UN Treaty, Articles 55 and 56, look it up, folks, prove me wrong.